What is going on, guys? BCD here, and today I just want to bring you a quick video. Basically, what I want to do is go over my picture settings of what I use currently now for watching movies on the OLED I just picked up. So I start off with the Expert Darkroom picture mode. I chose that one because of just going online, looking at a bunch of different stuff, and settled on that one probably being a start point good for me. And so what I like to do is basically get rid of all sharpness. So I don't like it like to be sharpened, or cause I don't think it's necessary. So I take that off for pretty much everything: sharpness, the horizontal and the vertical. I also I guess depending on what you prefer, I will either go with expert darkroom or expert brightroom. The difference really isn't nothing but the brightness of the OLED. Either you can switch it from the 50 or leave it at the 16 like I have it. But depending on what you prefer and how bright you want it to be, depending on what the setting is, I usually watch movies in a dark space or a dark place. So I don't necessarily need all of the additional brightness on the screen. Looking at my expert stuff, I turn dynamic contrast off, super resolution off, color gamut, I leave at auto. Edge enhancer, I turn off, of course. I don't want anything pretty much that would cause it to, you know, enhance pretty much or sharpen anything. My gamma, I turn that to warm, or not warm, sorry, 2.2. 1.9 was a little bit over. It was not giving me the blacks I wanted, but I felt like 2.2 was in a good spot where it was giving me all the blacks that I necessarily needed. So I prefer 2.2 to pretty much all the rest of them. You can depending on what you prefer or how you want to set yours. It's fluctuate with this. So if you feel like your blacks are like gray, I wouldn't necessarily put it at 2.2. But if you feel like you wanted to, get it a little bit darker, 2.4 is fine, stuff like that. So it really depends on how you want to do it. Dynamic contrast, I just left that off as well. I mean, that's don't necessarily use it, so I just wanted to leave that off too. White balance, I did go ahead and change my warm temperature. I went from having it to be medium, to warm, from warm 2 to warm 1. I felt like the color mapping was just a little bit off for the temperature, so I decided to go with warm 1 to add it a little bit more of let it pop out a little bit more, because you can see on Spider-Man's suit, got a little bit brighter on the red and a little bit darker on the blue, so it kind of gave it a little pop. I don't really mess with anything else in there. I just leave the white balance and everything else the same. Only thing I mess with is the color temperature. Everything else I leave the same. I don't really want to mess up how they map the colors. I think they do a fine job of it. So it's just more of the temperature of the tint. Then I move on to picture options, and that's where I really turn like any noise reduction off. I leave the black levels the same on this one. I turn real cinema off. Um, I don't like that they try to auto adjust pretty much to what you're watching, or so I don't really like the auto of that. So I really just leave that off. I don't really want to turn that on. It's motion eye care is another thing that I turn off. I guess that's per se. If you want to leave that on, that's something you can. That's just some options that I just chose not to utilize. So motion eye care, true motion off. I don't like anything that try to add frames or try to smoothen out the frame. So I turn all those settings off. But yeah, I mean, at that point, you get a little bit differentiation in the picture from what it was before. It kind of looks a little bit, I feel like it looks a little bit cleaner for me when I'm watching videos or watching something. You can tell the difference between action scenes and like, the high brights and the low brights. You can see the difference and a little bit more detail in it too. So that's why I chose to go with the expert darkroom, and then those are just going over my settings. But yeah, if you like this commentary, don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have some different changes in your settings on what you use for um, your TV. But yeah, thanks for watching. And as always, peace.